we will start with talking about the Faker situation, because new info has dropped from the man Faker himself. Let's see if he agreed with his own comments that he made, or if all the haters, aka me, Rich, Thorin, they were saying that it wasn't good to say this type of stuff, if we were all just wrong and pieces of shit, and if we should in fact kill ourselves as we have been told many times. Faker's response was good. Yep, it absolutely was. So I am just going to go over everything from the beginning, just for like one concise discussion on everything, because I don't want to just jump into like what happened today, because some people don't even know the original reason why people were talking about T1 DDoS. Okay, so for those of people that were uninformed, after T1's loss to Hanwha Life, they got 3-0'd by Hanwha Life, and in the press conference, somebody asked Faker about the DDoS situation, and he said that it has impacted the team's informants and that the situation has not been fair. Now, when he said this, I went out and I made a tweet where I said, I don't care if the excuse of T1 is valid or not. It's just poor sportsmanship to bring it up immediately after losing. Technically, he didn't bring it up. There was like mistranslation. But the point is, you shouldn't talk about it directly after losing, especially when it's been talked about before. It comes off as an excuse. And I think that it undermines the success of the other team that you just played against. They just 3-0'd you. They played a really good series. You know, one of the best series I've seen from Hanwha Life. Probably the best series I've seen from this Viper Hanwha Life since they've been a team. Like, they actually looked really on point. And it's not just because I think T1 played super bad or anything. I thought Hanwha Life just played well. And the whole discussion was not about Hanwha Life and how well they played on the day. The whole discussion became about the DDoS attacks against T1. So this is my tweet. I said, LPL teams had horrible COVID at 2022 Worlds. Couldn't even play with all 5 members on stage. FlyQuest just had a strategic coach be put on leave for allegedly being a nonce the day before finals. None of these teams came out and used these very valid excuses as justifications for losing. You act stoic and you accept the defeat. That's what I ended up saying. Everyone thought I was in the wrong, right? Not everyone. Actually, a decent amount of people under this post agree with what I said, but a large portion didn't. For example, people said things like this. The difference is that by saying we are getting DDoS, it puts public pressure on the issue and it might get resolved quicker. Saying the team was sick or my coach was a PDF does nothing since no one can really help. Now remember this, because this is what this was the best argument that people had against why why he should say things like this. People said that the reason why he's saying this is to put pressure on Riot and LCK publicly to fix their issues with the DDoS because they were still ongoing, right? So this was the framework. This is why people thought that this was okay. And for me, what I said originally was, I don't believe that there's just no solution to these problems. Like, I know how DDoS works. You can play from different accounts on Tournament Realm. Like, you play your scrims on Tournament Realm. You can get new accounts for Tournament Realm. You can scrim from a bunch of different locations. You could scrim in any like hotel, any PC bong in Korea, and those new accounts are not going to just be pulled instantly. Like, the reason why they were getting DDoS supposedly is because there was a leak within the like anti-cheat portion of the League client in Korea, and because of that leak, every time that they queued up on their main accounts, they were actually getting DDoS because people were able to find their IPs, right? So just remember that this is where the conversation was. This is why people said I was wrong. Okay, so we go into the Reddit thread. This is the Reddit thread, the main Reddit thread. This is like some of the most upvoted comments. Tell that to IWillDominate and his army of T1 haters. This is about like me saying like, if you flame T1 for this, you need to touch some serious grass, right? Like 1,100 upvotes. People were like, yeah, you tell them, bro, touch some grass, you fucking pussy ass T1 haters. You, IWillDominate. Like, you're just hating for no reason. Where it's like, if you look at my comment, bro, this is not a ridiculous over the top comment. This is not like me doing the T1 hater persona, you know, where like they lose one game and I'm like, all right, guys, it's time to disband the team. Like, it's very, if you have 2 brain cells and you actually watch me, you can easily tell when I'm just like joking around and saying ridiculous things where I guess T1 might be just the worst team in the world. I guess if they, you know, went to LLA, they would place 7th place out of 7 teams. Like, if I say some crazy shit like that, it's very obvious that I'm joking. And when I say things like this is my serious take on the matter. I think that you should talk like this right after you lose, right? It's very easy if you have any level of social understanding or you actually watch my stream. I haven't cared much about him because he didn't honor the bet with Kedra, which I'm still making the shy video. I just haven't released it yet because, you know, like I've been busy with doing 3 leagues. But yeah, before MSI we'll have the shy video. It's not going to be how people expect it to be, but I've already scripted how the majority of it's going to be. People said, didn't T1 fans send death threats to Dom's family, LS's family, and many more? I didn't say that anywhere T1 don't have mentally ill fans. Obviously, sending death threats is unacceptable. And then people are like, oh, but we should be holding content creators to a higher standard. Like, bro, their standard is like sending threats is crossing the line. The standard that people hold me to is like, if I say anything, if I disagree with anyone on T1, I'm suddenly just Hitler, bro. I am literally just Hitler if I disagree with any part of the T1 fan base. If I say, hey, bro, you shouldn't say that after losing, people are saying that people are acting like this is ridiculous and I'm sending T1 massive hate, dude. That is not sending T1 massive hate, bro. Like, that is just me giving my opinion on the matter. And other people had similar opinions. It wasn't just me, but obviously because I'm like the most popular T1 hater, whatever, I'm the one that's going to like absorb the brunt of all this. So I just read through all this. A victim of one thing can also be a perpetrator of another thing. I know, truly revolutionary thinking. I'm not gonna honor the triggered people with any response. It's not all black and white, you bozos. The perpetrator of another thing, bro. Imagine the perpetrator of another. I'm the perpetrator of saying that you shouldn't undermine a team's success because something negative happened to you in a post-game press conference because it detracts from the amount of credit that Hanwha Life should be getting. What is he the perpetrator of? What is he a victim of? How was he hurt? I mean, I'm not playing the victim card here either. Like, I'm just literally reading what the comments were. I love how, but the other side sent death threats is now used automatically to get out of anything. I'm sure some people in Dom's fan base also send death threats, so not sure what you are saying here. I've actually not seen this before. I haven't seen this before. I don't think that my fan base is known for sending death threats at all. Like, T1 fan base, I've seen a ton of death threats, like publicly, like under tweets, like, bro, you don't have to go anywhere to find death threats of me. It's not like I'm like, oh, there's death threats in the DMs, and people are like, well, I guess I haven't seen your DM, so I have to take your word for it. It's like, no, bro, that shit is just right there. You look on that, you look on my tweets, you just see, we're gonna find you, hope you die. Like, you just see that shit just immediately, right? Dom hasn't done a single positive thing for the league scene in his life. 75 upvotes. I'm baffled that he still has a following, living off hate and toxicity. I don't know why people think that this is how I'm popular. Like, obviously I do like the hater persona thing where I say like some shit that's supposed to be like entertaining or funny, but I think that the reason why I've actually been able to survive in the league scene for a long period of time is because like I was a pro player, so I have knowledge of the game, I have good connections within the scene, I'm dedicated, I'm consistent, I stream multiple leagues, I put in like a bunch of hours, I do talk shows. Like, I mean, I feel like it's such a cop-out to be like the only reason that he's like successful is because he hates T1 or something. Like, I think that hating T1 is not good for your brand. Like, go out there and try to make a brand off hating T1. Literally, these guys should try to do it. If you think that you can become a multi-millionaire just hating T1, go out and fucking do it. I don't have any evidence that shit works. I think it's actually better to support T1, to post videos that are supporting T1. I don't think hating T1 gets you anywhere. I think that this is actually bad for my brand. If I only cared about success, viewership, things like that, then I wouldn't ever say anything negative about T1. I wouldn't say what I actually think about these situations. I just try to like voice what I think because I feel like a lot of people that watch me kind of use me as like they want to filter things that happen in the League of Legends world through my brain because I've spent so much time just doing this shit. And they're like, all right, put this into your mind. Let's see what it spits out. Like, that's why I think people ask me these types of questions. People said he almost single-handedly helped boost the popularity viewership of LPL. This is obviously downvoted because it's pro me, right? He's done nothing for the scene, I guess. He's only helped create multiple big podcasts, casted for LPL games, is considered one of the big LPL analysts, but other analysts, and even helped push Riot to continue an English cast for LPL. But sure, he has never done anything positive for the scene. I mean, it is pretty crazy that the point that we're arguing, like, that where it's like contentious is like, have I ever done any one thing positive for the League of Legends scene that I've been a part of for 13 years? It is actually fucking crazy that is a contended point. Every single person has done something positive in their life. Like, you can't just be like, yeah, I mean, Kim Jong-un is a bad person, but I don't think Kim Jong-un has ever done one thing positive for one person in his entire life. Like, the worst person has done something positive before. How is this ever even a fucking take? It's actually so insane to me that this is like where we're at, but whatever, man. The glazing is crazy. If somebody like says, hey man, here's some things that he's done positive. The glazing is crazy. Pointing out factual things Dom has done is apparently glazing, but yeah, Dom hasn't done a single positive thing. Okay, so this is just to show you what the response is. IWillDominate is one of the biggest clowns in the entire scene. The first problem with this sentence is believing and worshiping IWillDominate. The dude is one of the biggest douchebags and assholes NA has talented fourth in the last 15-ish years. Is that a saying? Talented fourth? You can say that? Sounds weird as hell to me. Sad that people like him get a platform, but hey, it is how it is, I guess. I'm really living right through in your head. Not just saying the obvious. And it seems I am right. And it seems I am right. I got some upvotes. I must be correct. IWillDominate is just a garbage guy who blames all his time. So this is just to give you context. We can like cut some of this in the video or whatever, but like this is just give context. Like It was all just like, he's a wild dog. I wouldn't take him seriously. So today, there was an interview with Faker. There was statements made, translated by Faker. Let's see what Faker thinks about his own response. Remember, everyone is saying he's correct for what he said in those interviews, or in that post-game press conference, that in his post-game press conference, he did the right thing by mentioning the DDoS attacks. Now, I think people are just going to look at the first part of this. They're not going to actually read all 6 of the tweets here and literally listen to the totality of what he said. But my whole thing was like, I think he's just frustrated that he lost. Like, I think he's triggered that he got his ass beat. It's like a 3-0, bro. Everyone has got their ass beat before. I'm triggered by that shit too. I don't think there's anything wrong with being triggered, but I think that that's why he said what he said, right? Like, that was my whole take, is I'm like, I think that's like a sore loser thing to do. 1 of 6, Faker. In an interview after losing to Hanwha Life, I said we had issues analyzing the meta due to not being able to practice because of the DDoS attacks, but I was venting my frustration because we lost the game so badly. I looked back on the remarks and reflected a lot. As a pro player, many people will empathize with us, and it's my fault for mentioning outside factors outside the game in a post-loss interview. I deeply learned that what's important is not what I say, but how it's conveyed to the other person. In the last interview, I realized that I lacked consideration for the other person. I acknowledge that it was an unpleasant interview from Hanwha Life esports perspective. I learned that interviews delivered to many fans should be more meaningful and convey deeper words. So I just want to say this here. Like, this is like a good thing that Faker did. I'm 100% backing Faker with these comments. I'm like, yeah, dude, all of us say things that are wrong. Like, I wasn't saying like Faker should get like penalized, or I wasn't calling for anything. I was like, hey bro, I think that what he said was wrong here. And then he just came out and he's like, I also too think that like what I said was wrong, which is like, yeah, that's like fucking maturity. That's great, bro. A+ Faker, you nailed it. This is exactly the response. Like, I don't think what he did was the worst thing in the fucking world or anything. He acted out of frustration. He said things that undermined Hanwha Life esports success, and now he's essentially just apologizing for it. He's saying that what he said was wrong. We lost 3-0 to Hanwha Life, but I was honestly surprised by the performance. I felt like they had no faults and their teamwork was good. We defeated Dom1 because we learned a lot from losing to Hanwha Life. I'm thankful to be able to face Hanwha Life again in the lower finals, and we'll work hard to defeat them this time. We've been practicing hard since the Hanwha Life match. LCK has been considerate, so since 2 weeks ago, we've been team training and also practicing individually on the MMR accounts we received. So far, we haven't gotten DDoS attacks and have been practicing normally. We're late on the meta-analysis compared to other teams, and we're in a position where we have to catch up. We'll prepare hard as the challenger. So, remember, going back to these tweets, bro, people were claiming, oh, the reason why Faker is saying this is because they haven't got to practice for 2 weeks. The 2 weeks thing is since their main accounts have been played on. What he says here, very blatantly, he says this just literally, he says that they have been able to practice without issues for the last 2 weeks. They haven't been DDoS for 2 weeks, and they've been team training. Of course, bro. How could T1 not be team training for 2 weeks, bro? What do you think? You think that they're actually just sitting in a fucking box like, oh, we got DDoS at our facility, we're just not going to do anything, and we're not going to practice at all for 2 weeks? Like, how much of a fucking idiot do you have to be to think that that was actually the situation just because their main accounts weren't played on? They are fucking T1. They are the biggest League of Legends organization in the entire fucking world. And people made it seem like that was the most reasonable outcome. Like, they have been practicing normally for 2 weeks. They haven't been DDoS for 2 weeks. Listen to what Faker says. And the most ill part about all this is when I tweeted out afterwards, I'm like, love this from him. Classy move. You have people that are like, this is just purely to save face from IWillDominate. Like, how am I saving face? Literally, how am I saving face? I didn't change my stance on this one time. I'm like, hey, bro, I think that this is what is correct. And then when Faker was like, I also agree with that, I was like, nice. A+ by Faker, great. Mature individual, like, he's the fucking GOAT. I love this from him. It's a classy move. But somehow the narrative is that, like, I'm trashing him for no reason, and then now I'm saving face. Like, how did I save face? I'm literally saying the same thing the entire fucking time. Does the 2 weeks account for solo queue play also, or just team play? It's both. They have been able to practice in scrims. And what he was saying when he says the new accounts, those are the new super accounts that Riot provided for them, and they haven't been DDoS on those accounts. So they have been able to practice normally without DDoS for the last 2 weeks. They haven't had that issue. They had that issue before. It was ongoing. It was annoying. They solved it now by getting new accounts. I don't know if they're playing from a different location from scrims. I'm not exactly sure how they solved it. He didn't go into the specifics. But the point is that it has been solved, and he is no longer, like, T1 is not experiencing those problems anymore. You shouldn't really engage that much. I mean, I don't know, bro. I don't know how to not. Classic move after starting a hate campaign. What a thick skin you have. Shut up. Shut up. Get off it. Just the other day, you were having a souk. Anyone who says having a souk should literally not be able to talk on the internet, bro. It's like some like British saying like, oh, you're having a souk. It's so fucking cringe. Like anyone who says that shit, immediately stop fucking talking. Never talk again if you say having a souk. Like it is so fucking pathetic. It's such a cringe saying. Just don't say that shit. Then he even mentioned the DDoS attack. You're just a toxic person. League doesn't need you. Realistically, it's more that League doesn't need you, buddy. Dom is a terrible person. This is something I retweeted. Dom, I don't like what Faker said after the Hanwha Life game. Faker, I also don't like what I said. Dom, I like that Faker admits that. T1 fans, f you hypocrite, you're a hater. Faker is right, you're toxic. Doing tricks on it after talking shit is crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, bro. I'm just like sucking Faker's for clout. I couldn't possibly just agree with what he said. When you read this and you read everyone's takes, like you read the responses to my original tweet, where did I say it here? I said, respect Faker, that's GOAT behavior. Really like that. I really like that he was able to acknowledge that he said something that was wrong, that undermined Hanwha Life's success. Then he gave them credit. Like he can't go back in time and change it. Like, I mean, he just did what anyone does, bro. Everyone makes mistakes. Like it just straight up, like everyone makes mistakes. I'm not saying that like I would never make that mistake or anything. I just commented on that one action. I don't know why people can't, like people are like, if you're not Jesus, don't ever comment on any action. Like, dude, he made a mistake, went back, said, hey, I shouldn't have said that. It kind of undermined Hanwha Life's success. They actually played really well. I said it because I was frustrated. Everything's good now. Can't wait to play them again. Like that is literally just a perfect statement from Faker. I think it's actually really mature. I think it's great. I said this, and the T1 fans' response, I see things like, okay, so there's like Nikic, me, whatever. You must not be familiar with Korea culture then. Korean celebrities apologize for things that they weren't even wrong, such as having a boyfriend. Don't know why Faker had to apologize when it's literally you mauling over a single tweet without context. Number one, I don't remember Faker ever apologizing for having a boyfriend, so I don't know, like... I don't know like what this guy is talking about here. Like this is just like I'm not even sure if that's true. But anyway, like the main point is, it's like, why do you have to just spin it in your head and be like, it must be a conspiracy? Like he's only apologizing because of something like you did. It's like, dude, I am not important. Faker doesn't know who I am. I'm just gave my opinion. Like I think the most likely scenario is that what he's saying is true. He was frustrated by losing because it sucks to lose, and he's an ultra competitive person, which is why he is such an elite level competitor. He is like the best esports athlete in the history of any esport at this point. He's the best ever. And you don't get that without being ultra competitive. And part of being ultra competitive is that you hate fucking losing, and he lost and he hated it and he acted out of frustration. I think that that's just completely human nature. Like, why does it have to be something different where it's like, oh man, like he doesn't mean that. Like he was right the first time. He doesn't mean what he's saying now. He's only trying to appease IWillDominate. It's so crazy, bro. It's so crazy. But yeah, I wanted to just go over this because this is like the whole situation that's happened. This is the whole situation. I said what I said. I love how Faker handled everything. I think it's great now. I didn't love the comments immediately. I don't think I'm going to talk about this one more time for the rest of my life because we're kind of overdosed on death threats right now. We got like the triple combo. We had the picture with Niski. So I got them from the French fans. Then we had Mad losing. So we got them from the Mad fans. And then we got the triple combo with like T1 fans with this week. So I think I'll like chill out for a couple weeks and then I'll like, you know, stir up some bullshit. Give me like, you know, 1 week and then I'll go back and we'll just try to piss off another massive fan base.